Yeah. Also, and then we'll get started. But the last Rick and Morty. Have you been watching the new season?
There's a new season?
Yeah, it just came out. I think it's episode
Oh.
episode 4. Beth and Clone Beth make love.
Oh no.
It's just there's a lot going on, and you're just yeah. They're still continue to push just to push it, and I'm like applaud them for that.
It's amazing because they've pushed it so far already in season 1 and they've managed to keep it just going
Yeah. Well, even like the
as crazy.
the new ideas. I'm like, how can you keep on coming up with new ideas?
What I figure is that they include a lot of drugs and alcohol in their creative process.
All right then. I drank whiskey last night. Does that count?
Hey, did you write a new song with it?
I think I did actually, but I don't know. All 3 days lately have been blending together. You have 7. No,
You only have 3, huh? I got the full 7.
this is why I get nothing done. I only have 3 days a week. This is we're rolling. So I started tackling my this should actually be first on the bullet point list. This took me 7 days to learn. Right. I started that this week.
Oh, right.
And like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all I did was that song to the point where even today I looked, I'm like, well, how many hours of drums did I record? Like how many, 7 hours of drum footage.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. That wasn't all in 3 days. That's since Monday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday weren't great days for me. And then I started doing that shot I sent you, the picture I sent you the other day, is I started doing vocal scratch takes and recording it all at the same time. So I'm like recording my
like video?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. You're like, of course you're recording because you're doing vocal.
Yeah.
But
It's like,
all of a
missing
sudden
something.
it becomes me recording the entire fucking process. And if I had a little bit more balls, I would release all of it as is right now. What scares me is like, dude, I listen to my vocals. They're complete shit.
So they're normal.
They're my
takes,
normal.
really?
Yeah, no. I said that. I said that in the video. I said that and I'm fine with releasing them if I can get to the point where I think I can get with it. But right now I release it and I'm not there, right? That huge. I do this in every video. I get paid $1 for every time I do this in videos. Where I'm like struggling and I sound like shit. Now it'd be awesome if I get to the other side, but I don't know if I'll get to the other side.
I don't have that answer for you because we've been on that journey together for a while, and the other side it's like one of those hallways where the door just keeps stretching further and further out as you walk towards it, and like the hallway keeps getting smaller, and so you can't really even keep going forward anymore.
Yes, is how my practice, my singing ability is. The video works as a concept if I start the video with me demoing the song and I just fucking hit it out of the park, right? Then I can show that I'm terrible. But right now I have to show that I'm terrible without having that final product. That's where my yeah, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's way easier to be like, and I think if I can get this one done this way, in the future I'll be like, hey, this is day 1 of me learning this song all the way through, and fuck it. I mean, I won't care after that. But right now, dude,
Right.
like I'm not going to show you vocals today, but I am going to show you my drum take. I'm sending it to you in a Slack message right now.
Okay.
Oh, my point though is I'm treating it like the process we treat with Lamech. Never finishing. No, that's a terrible joke, Nick. God damn it. Don't make those jokes.
Hey, we have released material with Lamech.
And again, I'll put the Spotify link like I did in the last video. Whenever we mentioned Lamech, we put Spotify links in.
I won't say that it was finished material, but it was released material.
We have a new one coming, so but I'm treating this process like, so I lay down an acoustic guitar, that's my scratch, and then I'm recording drums to that, so it has a little bit more of a natural feel to it. I don't want to I don't want to just play with a metronome, even though I practice nonstop with the metronome, but I want to track to that acoustic guitar so it has some feel to it.
Sure.
So,
I mean, metronomes, by their very nature, are pretty dead of feeling.
Yeah. So this is. I'll play it for you. It's only 52 seconds. I'm sending it to you so you can listen to it on your own, and laugh. I don't know why I'm chuckling because it's been 3 days of doing it.
Luke. There we go. Well, I was just listening to it on my phone, just so you know.
Oh. Yeah, good, because I have no volume.
But do you have Valium?
I'm going to need some after this. All right.
I took mine already.
Did you listen to it on the phone?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like drums.
It sounds like drums. It's I don't want to diss you or anything, but it's also a simple beat.
Yeah.
So what was your challenge in it?
For that part, not.
Let me pull the sheet up actually, so I can.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm laughing is I left a part out. There's a triplet in the beginning.
So here we go. And see, this is really cool. If you have our sheet music, you can look at this stuff.
Exactly. With us. You could be looking at the same time.
Oh, so you left out the...
Yeah, well, no, I worked on it a ton. I worked on it a ton. I could not get one that wasn't sloppy. The funny thing is I can play it, so the song's at 119. I'm going to pull the song up on my end a minute.
And how far through did you play?
That's the other funny part. I've learned the entire part, not at full speed. For my scratch track, my goal was on Sunday to get the intro verse scratch tracked. Because what I found on vocals, and you know this because you know the same process, what I found on vocals, it really highlighted where I was lacking. And so it made my next practice session so much better.
Right.
So I just wanted to tackle the same thing. I've never laid down a drum scratch track like that before in my life.
So that's
like for me, it was all brand new. So I was like, okay, what's the process? I understand the process, but I've never been in the drummer seat doing it. Measure 5 is tricky.
Measure 5, that because of the half open hi-hat.
Yeah, that took me a lot of time. And honestly, so when I say 7 hours, most of my time would be spent on like pre-chorus beats, not bad. 32 is terrible.
Oh, same problem basically.
Yeah, same problem. And then you have that mid-tom snare at the same time. And then the fill.
I still can't do open hi-hats. I don't understand how that's like. I'm not a drummer.
Yeah.
Straight up, like there's just no question there. But I don't know how they do that.
But Nick,
they do it with such control and such finesse.
But it's you on a wah pedal with your other foot. You could do that all day.
Not really, though. Not really.
It kind of.
Because if you do like the Moeller technique, it's not a wah pedal. A wah pedal, you're just flat-footed and you roll forward and back.
All right. Well, I don't.
The Moeller, you're like on the pad of your foot, kind of always light and bouncing and using the weight of your own foot.
See, now I'm rocking back because there's not a lot of open hi-hat, so I can just kind of do that while the right foot is doing heel up. That's what gets me more than anything else because I feel like I'm just doing this the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
See, yeah, it's like if I'm doing the flat-footed thing where I'm just rolling up, then I can play actually more advanced drums than if I'm doing the heel up method because it's one of those methods that you need to practice it till you're good at it before you can play even a simple beat well.
Well, and that's what I ran into on those triplets. I can get those triplets at 128, but I can't apply them. So I made a little guitar profile that just looped up, and went to, 128, and I still was struggling. I could do that. I just couldn't do it in the track consistently. There's a couple bad ones. I mean, the worst of it is like the feel on measure 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those foot hi-hats in there as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of fun on 45.
Hey.
45 is kind of fun because you come from a tom and then you have to hit the ride and come right back to the hi-hat.
So you're like, choo-cha, choo-cha.
Essentially, yeah. But it's crazy. And like, I think Friday I started hitting drums hard because I was like, well, I got to get drums and vocals because they're my weakest. And if I don't have drums, I can't build anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. The chart, and I'll actually pull up the chart that I'm using. So I started marking every measure at like, hey, this I can play at 60 BPM. All right, this I can play at this part. And then it became, okay, at the end of Saturday, my goal is to get all these up to 100 BPM.
Right.
So like 95, 95, here's an 80. You know, I'm like, what can I do it well at? So then tonight tonight I'm going to work on vocals again. Tonight I have to hit that one the hardest and stuff like that. So it made it more real for me.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like trying to get good at drums on demand is a high order, a big ask?
I feel like the big ask is any instrument, really.
But you know, you put your time in, say, on guitar and to a degree on bass. So like, getting them to a more advanced level would be
Hard.
probably a lot smoother.
Probably. I mean, we'll find out by the end of this week. So I would say today I'm playing the best drums of my life. That doesn't say a lot, but
Yeah, because you know, compared to a 5-year-old drummer, you're probably still not playing quite as well.
oh, there's a lot of 5-year-olds I could beat up. Is that what the question was?
There's a lot of 5-year-olds who beat you up.
Some tall kids this
The
year.
answer was.
Yeah. There's some tall kids out there. They're big. No, I don't know. I mean, pick and choose. I could spend, more time on guitar. The amazing thing is when you spend a lot of time on drums, then you go to vocals, like, guess what? Oh, the vocal part is all this offbeat rhythm too, right? So like I so innately know the drum part where I'm like, oh, I come in right after that snare. Oh, I come in right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will never say that learning drums is not useful. It's incredibly useful.
Yeah, just
right?
time consuming for somebody like me.
Well, time consuming for anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not an easy instrument just to get good. Like even people who've been playing drums for years, and I'll play with them and be like, you do know that you're still not playing in time, right? You're like technically playing parts, but
Yeah.
you don't continue them in the same relative tempo zone. For example, a certain drummer that I've met, you know, like pretty much every drummer I've ever met actually,
Drummers.
they do a fill.
Yeah.
You know, they do a fill at the end of a phrase into the next phrase, and it's like all of a sudden their tempo changed dramatically.
I know. That's all I can say is I know. It's drummers, they're hard. They're hard to find good ones and it's don't make that dirty.
I'm just thinking you're right though. It is difficult to find good ones. Well, it's not difficult to find good ones. It's difficult to find ones that will play that have a good feel.
Yeah.
Have good control of the time and the feel of the song, because there's so many of them are very technical, but they don't have that feel, and that's like the most important part of
of
the drum kit is the feel. But like they're all focused on, can I do double blast kicks, you know? And
they're unpracticed in that or unlearned in that. So I tempo mapped the Fleetwood Mac song. I was interested to see, so I'm using that obviously as my grid, you know, and they had their tempo is this throughout, you know, but they were around the 119 marker for sure. So, you know, I did quantize them because I'm like, well, I don't want to lay down an acoustic track to an unquantized track. You know, the delineation, and breaking everything.
Well, that slight variation in tempo gives it that natural human feel.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of like quantized songs, they fall flat. Like that doesn't feel.
Yeah.
You kill a lot of the feel by the quantization, right? Which is what I respect a lot about older music, is they didn't do it to a click track necessarily.
Well, and they were good enough to hold it all together
all.
and sound as good as they did, and sounds better than the music today.
I mean, that's it's debatable. Like
It
you
is.
take a lot of music from back in the day that I would consider pretty hot trash, but that's all a matter of subjective opinion for the most part.
Opinions. All right. So new songs this week.
What are they?
They are,
New songs.
and I'm only going to highlight one part because I felt like last week we highlighted a lot of parts. So if there's something in these songs that jump out, you tell me. But the Kiwi drums by Harry Styles, I don't think he played the drums in this one, but it's kind of a fun swung part, right? And fast.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's really the only part of the song that really pops out at me that I like, I guess, I'm more interested in. It's me saying
that first little thing looks kind of tricky. I mean, actually, as again, not being a drummer, it all looks fairly tricky to me.
Yeah, I would agree. And on this one, there's not a lot of great sheets online. So it kind of looks, in some ways, like a simple drum part, just fast and a lot of triplets, right? But then you're swinging all those eighth notes like on measure 18.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not good with swing on a drum kit, that's for sure.
I'm not good.
Especially with the kick drum. I'm like my foot doesn't understand making a kick drum swing.
Yeah. It's like, no, I will not swing for you. The other one, I got a good question for you. I don't know if you've ever tried to play this song before, House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah, I played it a lot. I like it.
Is it finger picked, or does he play it with an actual pick? I just don't know.
I'll show you.
All right then. I didn't know. We did not actually pre-plan this demonstration, so we didn't. We didn't though.
No. All right. So, let's see. Am I in tune at all? Close enough. So not really in tune, but anyway. It's like a pick rake thing, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, I mean, you could do it finger style. Right. I'm better with the pick, obviously, but when I've seen, because there's a music video and you see he got a pick and he's just doing this like.
So when you play it, you have this great consistency on your little. Is it a pick rake?
Yeah, like I know you can't see it on the phone.
Which
so
is
well.
Gotcha. Right. Mine would always be. Right.
There's a control to it.
Yeah.
And that's where it's essentially a kind of sweep picking.
Okay.
Technique or economy picking technique. Just not. You know, you're not muting strings or anything.
Got you. It's close, but sweet. Now I know that answer, and then I can study this video and learn that. Cool. So yeah, those are the two new songs this week. Check them out at musicbythemeasures.com. We have a little discount, sale going on right now. So
yeah, 50% off new subscription.
50% off, Nick. You're giving this thing away.
I want to. I want people to sign up and find out how good our stuff is. And,
there you go.
And help us make more.
Yes, give us feedback and let us know what you want. And clearly, my acting classes.
That's a big part of it. We we really do need the feedback though, because we've like we talked about before. We spent countless hours going through and deciding, well, what do we think works and what do we think it needs to look like and be like. But that might not be the case for everyone out there, or for even most people out there. We might be in our own little bubble with that opinion. So the feedback would be very helpful
now
to produce something that people really want.
I don't know if you're doing a segue, Nick, but it feels like we really didn't plan this. We're getting good. the segue is we got some feedback this week on a YouTube video that I think was quite funny and I want to share. I kind of went back and forth on this. I think it's funny, and I think hopefully people find it funny. But we released a video about, I'm not even going to mention the comment, the who it was about, because it was not about him. It was about the sad state of the music industry, right?
And I wasn't even aware that we were talking about that.
And I got to do better.
I
bullet
literally
points.
thought you were just asking me to guess a number, and I was like, I'll guess a number. This sounds fun.
And that's really not your fault, because I would say stupid shit like that, right? I would always be like, hey, what's your favorite color of blue? I do say stuff like that. Anyway,
You do. Azure, by the way.
Did you see there was another comment that came in last night, a different video, but basically a video from like 5-6 years ago. She goes, the audio's not in sync and this is not helpful. And I was like, okay. So we actually we redid that video. We put a better one up. So I sent her that link. I haven't heard anything back. I do feel like the internet is like, we want to complain, so let us complain, and then that's all we want.
Well, it's that anonymity. It's things that you would never say to somebody face to face that is easy to type out on a keyboard.
Now, the funny thing is, and I'm going to read this. The first one I have a reply to. Sorry. Oh wait, which one was the first one that I liked? Yeah. Okay. We won't even blur out the name. So the first person goes, just goes to show you Tim Pool has done more in his little life than you guys both put together. Now, in my defense, my dad has said worse to me. Also, this is what I thought, as soon as, because I just laughed. And I was like, they have no idea how little my life is, though. Like how small, how worthless my life is. Like that was a compliment.
They think that they're putting you down, and it's like they're still comparing you to Tim Pool, so that's a win.
That's the nicest. No, not the Tim Pool part, but the other part is the fact that they think my life is just little. That was the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Instead of completely pointless and meaningless, it's just little.
That is a huge uptick. Second one, as of my posting this, Tim Pool has sold a lot more songs than this video has received views, and this video is free to watch.
But again, I mean, you're watching us, so who's really lost on this one?
Man, you have a really good point there. Yeah. Good argument. This one I like. Mr. Gonzo, you'll have plenty of time to make Bitcoin jokes when you're living in a van down by the river again.
If I had a van that I could live in down by the river, I would be stoked right now. That would be amazing.
The funny thing is, Tim Pool wants the same. Maybe you guys would be... He actually says that he would like to retire and just live in a van by the river.
I don't know. Maybe we could be van buddies and hang out down by the river together.
Now, I do want to clarify, I've never lived in a van down by the river. And when I slept in my car, it was the little blue Hyundai that I have. Hyundai. Yeah. Day and night I slept in that thing.
The car salesman I talked to once said it was like Sunday, Monday, Hyundai.
See, he's got...
Well, I've also heard it pronounced Hyundai, so who knows?
That one would be really hard to do. I
did like those comments though. It was just fascinating because I've seen negative comments on YouTube videos before. Yeah. On plenty of people's. It's just a big common. It's a common thing that happens to everybody. Yeah. But just to see like how people misinterpret what you're saying, and sometimes I wonder like, where do you even get that interpretation from?
What I find really funny, and I sent it to a couple friends because I thought it was funny too. I start the video by going, Tim Pool, who I watch. Now there are a lot. I laughed about this too though because there's a lot of people that spite watch other people.
Sure.
And
I'm ironically watching this person.
But I'm like, why would I mention? And the other thing that kind of rubbed me is like, these are about our music and our lives and how that's kind of intertwined. It's like, if I want to talk about Tim Pool and being broke from Bitcoin, those are two things I'm going to talk about. it just kind of seemed like people were like, what, you're talking about this? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'd talk about this if I wasn't on camera. So yeah.
Right.
That's where it's like, do we have to ask somebody's permission?
Nah, of course not. Right. Of course. The people are just people are going to say what they're going to say. And I
we bitch about stuff too. Everyone bitches.
I still think it's just, yeah, but I just think it's funny. I really do. Like I was saying, I think it's funny to see how people interpret things. It's like,
yeah,
really left me wondering, like, how did you reach that conclusion?
For sure. Did you hear 2 keywords and they upset you? Because again, I sent it to Tim, who you know, and right away he goes, man, the music, I just told him about it in a bar. And he goes, man, the music industry is that bad right now. And I was like, that was my point. That was the whole point. You can sell 12,000 and get to be number 2.
Right.
It used to be, I don't know this for a fact, but it used to be hundreds of thousands that you had to sell.
You should, there's a really good video, because you mentioned Tom McDonald, and he's a phenomenally popular independent artist, right?
Yeah.
He's, whether you like that type of music or not, you gotta respect that he's done what he's done, and it's like a 2-person team, him and his girlfriend or wife, or whatever their relationship is, right? And and he actually has a 2-part video, I think it's 2-part, where he talks about how he got screwed on the Billboard ratings.
He's blackballed.
He jumped through every hoop that they put up, and he sold like so many physical and digital copies, and they just like, they wouldn't recognize like all of the digital ones or something like that. Or
you're probably right,
like,
because
watch the video
when Poole released his video, he had the same problem because they didn't submit it correctly. None of his YouTube views counted towards it, and he did really well on YouTube views.
Right.
So they want you to jump through a bunch of hoops, and they want to control that, I guess, is the best way to say it.
But the crazy thing is, the Tom McDonald team, they did jump through the hoops. They did do it properly. They did all their research. They studied up on it. They even like changed the release date of a song or an album or something like that to coincide better, and they still got screwed.
What do you do? What's next then? Like, what can he do? Do you know or not?
Nothing really. Like, he can put out a couple videos, part 1 and part 2, saying what happened, how it happened, and show, he shows like email correspondence and all that stuff. So I guess that's what you can do. You can be like, hey, this is what actually happens.
Which is good, because like 40 years ago, when people were fucking over, or when music industry was fucking over artists, or record labels, whatnot, were fucking over the artist, you weren't able to like broadcast this to everybody and say, hey, I'm not getting the attention I like. Right. McDonald deserves that, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, he's selling. Yeah. He's selling a lot of songs, and that sucks.
He's doing well for himself. He is.
I can't read the last part. Can you see that? Maybe there's a more polite way to say that, but we kind of covered it a little bit in the other one. It's that as I was doing these Stevie Nicks vocals, and I was in my mind improving, it's still worrisome to be like, man, that's not good enough. And where's the line of good enough and perfect? And and maybe we've already hashed this enough, but I do think the next one I do like this, and I'll pick an easy drum song again, because that's trying to build that skill set, to just go, hey, I spent probably on Saturday 6 to 7 hours of all instruments just filming.
Right.
It would take big balls for me to just release that and be like, I'm bad at this shit, and I want to get better.
Right. Look how bad I am. Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
Because everyone out there is releasing "Look how good I am" videos, right? Like, oh, I'm a virtuoso. Look at me be a virtuoso. Yeah. And you'd be like, I'm not very good, and here's the proof. Here's the hard evidence of it. Enjoy.
Was anybody wondering? I'm really bad. Now I'm also really bad, and I'm also really bad. But there's payoff if there's a good video at the end, right? Like, man, look at this guy's journey. Like, I'll have to figure it out. But 3 days in a row.
If you did it for a year, your videos and your quality would be completely different, and probably quite good by the end.
That is the goal.
Now, one thing I was just thinking about, though, I'm going to pull that drum chart back up from Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Like there would be absolutely nothing wrong with simplifying those parts that are difficult for you for the sake of completion.
Now that is my plan, though. So if that is the one thing holding me up, I will simplify. And I even talked that through in the video, saying like, even like the vocal melody, I'm like, I'm not going to get everything 100% perfect. It's what I can do. And I think the video, because I have a tendency to try to get everything perfect, I think it needs to be good enough. So I may not get this song perfect,
totally.
but like that feels doable. And I think the videos are going to be called like, this song took me 7 days plus 3 to learn.
Right.
Well, no, because that's the point. It's like, it's a great idea, but like my Monday was terrible. My Tuesday was terrible. My Wednesday was the best day I had for practice. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I kicked ass. Well, I'm going like,
right.
I need 2 more days. I can't pull this off. In 2 days, I can probably get really fucking close. Sunday night, I'm at like 8 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock. I went to the gym. Yes. Thank you for asking, Nick. And on my way back, I'm like, all right. You got to come back. You got to. And I was like, no, I know I'm not going to hit the deadline. And I kind of just deflated, and not in a bad way, but like I looked at my Monday going, if I don't get these 4 tasks done, well, it's going to make my Monday shit. I don't want my Monday to be shit. So I'd rather get 1 or 2 of those tasks started, and then Monday's looking good. I got an hour and a half of drums in already today. After this meeting, all I have to do is vocals now.
Right.
But for me right now, no, 7 days isn't realistic. I think there'll be a video down the road where I go, I learned this song in 7 days and I finished it.
Right.
Dead air.
It brings me back to when I was going to music school, and we had a week for everything, every day you have different classes and you get different assignments, and you have a week to take a test on it. Right. So every day of every week you're taking a test in a class, and between having all these different classes, so all this different material, and then having a week to essentially master it and get it done, like there's no way, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. So you did what you could to make it
as good
in that week, right?
Yeah.
So for example, when I think back to my jazz chord melody class, right? So you got a jazz standard, and you're playing the melody and you're playing the harmony behind it on fingerstyle jazz guitar, and then you're supposed to do an improv solo over the form after that. Well, I was atrocious at improv solos then. I just didn't have the musicality, the knowledge at that point in time, or the technique. So what I did was I would just hardcore focus on getting that chord melody part down, because that was something that I could do. I was, I understood chords, and I understood melody, and I knew how to get that to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd spend hours and hours and hours every day working that, fleshing that out, and really just kind of pretty much ignore the improving part,
really,
in favor of getting one element down.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'd take the test, and I'd do pretty well on the chord melody section, and I would just suck balls on the improv part, but I got one part down instead of being terrible at both.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and that's probably the push of saying, you know what, these do need to become down the road 7 days. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what? You can have 2 as your kind of like pre-class, right? Your warm up. But then it's like, hey, what are you capable of 7 days, and what are you not? And graded on it, almost.
And with something like that, you almost kind of need like a deadlines throughout the week. Like, drums got to be done by this. This has to be done by this, so that you can reliably build up, and you get as far as you get, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was looking at, like, and I don't remember days at all at this point, but I know Saturday I was in a good place behind, if that makes sense. I think that's the day where I was looking at like all my tempos on drums being 80 BPM are the hard parts. And I'm like, or no, 100 BPM. And I'm like, 100 to 120 on these fills is quite a bit for me. Like, that's a big jump up.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I strip away those eighth notes and make them, quarter notes, boom, 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 and then 3 months from now redo this video because it's going to be easy as shit for me to play in a month.
Right. And yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
If you can do that, then why not? Or just not redo it and keep going, keep learning, and keep improving, and adding more to your repertoire as you go. There's genuinely no shame in simplifying a part. That's how everyone learns every instrument out there. You look at all of these beginner books and anything, and they can be quite complex, complicated, difficult songs just stripped down to their bare elements. I was playing Elton John on piano, and I couldn't play piano because it was such a simplified version of an Elton John song, right?
But it still got you playing.
Hey, I can play this. This is great. It sounds a lot like it's the spirit of the song, right?
Yeah, which is important. I mean, like that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to get it to sound like it so you can learn that and then go to the next level and go to the next level and go to the next level.
Well, and that's what we used to do all the time, just in the studio. Was we level 1, 2, 3 of every song out there, and I was responsible for making those. So, and it was level 3 was as the song was played. Level 2 was approximately intermediate level, and level 1 was bare beginner. Like anyone could sit down and just kind of play through it. And that was really like kind of its own education for me to be able to look at a song and realize almost instantly, okay, so what's the main element of this part?
What's the important part that you need to keep and
what needs to stay to keep it intact, but what can I get rid of to make it really playable?
Well, and a lot of what I was trying to do was I'm trying to so I did my vocal scratches. I did 3 different vocal scratch times, right? And I was like, these are my new takes to beat. Like we used to do when we were tracking for Lamech all the time. And I was like, when I get, obviously I was aiming for 7 days, but I'm like, okay, so on Sunday afternoon, this is my take to beat vocally. Now I'm not happy with it, but I would release that if need be. So if I can get that where it needs to be, and I was gonna do the same thing with drums. It's like, here's this basic beat throughout. If I can fix that fill, crop in, I'm using audio and video and picture terms. Comp in, if I can comp in just that fill, I will do that, If I can't get that fill, that fill's going to go away. Those kinds of things, especially because if I'm trying to get it over 5 to 6 days, the drums aren't going to change enough. Microphones, and who cares for these little things? It's more just.
Well, and there's no shame in punching in either. So if you got like a 1 measure that you almost got on a full run through, and you can just kind of hammer it out quick with a punch in,
and
why not?
There's no full run through. We're not aiming for that. We're aiming section bass. I'm being realistic with myself. So, but no, I'm going to push to wrap up this week, give myself a little bit more time on this one and then move on and call it good. I'm aiming for a C+. That's what I'm going to, I'm aiming for a D+. Good job. Going to lower it a little bit. So I think a D+ is doable.
Well, that sounds good to me. I mean, I used to get, D+ and D- in school, and that was a passing grade.
And look, I did too. And look how successful we both are.
I actually truly and completely believe that our level of success has nothing to do with our achievements in school, much more to do with how we've lived our lives since.
I think that's a perfect response to the end of this meeting, don't you?
Yes.
All right. I think there's some good chats in there, bro.
All right.
Cool. You have a good rest of your day.
Yep. And I'll send you a link to the Tom McDonald
please do.
video I was talking about so that you can just throw that in the description.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Peace.
All right.